From supermarket checkouts to convenience store shelves, pretty hard to miss those shot glass size bottles labeled 5-hour energy. Tiny package promising a huge punch of pep. And while only a bottle may run you $3 or so, they made one man so much cash he has cracked the Forbes Billionaire list. And ABC's John Donvan spent a day in his life.
10 years ago, the whole category didn't even exist as something you could buy. Shots of energy in bottles big and small that you seem to see for sale now here, there, and everywhere. But the first one was this, 5-hour energy. And the guy who came up with it, his name is Manoj Bhargava.
And 2 ounces, that your idea? Or?
Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah, a $1.3 billion idea. That's what Forbes said he was worth earlier this year.
How did being outed as a billionaire change your life? Since nobody really, not nobody, but it wasn't well known before.
Well, that was on purpose. I didn't want to be known. You know, and people say I don't want to toil in obscurity. I like toiling in obscurity.
Obscurity gets difficult, however, when your billion-dollar product comes under official scrutiny. New York's Attorney General has issued subpoenas to Bhargava's company, plus 2 others, Monster Beverage and PepsiCo, which makes AMP, seeking more details on their ingredients and on how the products are marketed and advertised. Not even the trade association that represents energy drink makers knows the details of these subpoenas. They do, however, see little reason to worry, reminding consumers of its own internal policy. Quote, voluntarily listing total caffeine amounts on packages, noting that energy drinks are not recommended for children, and voluntarily not offering energy drinks for sale in K-12 schools. The issue, says Michael Jacobson of the Center for Science and the Public Interest, kids getting inside them what is inside the bottles.
I don't think the average teenager has any idea that there are health repercussions related to energy drinks. The caffeine in the drinks clearly causes jitters and insomnia. It's mildly addictive and could cause withdrawal symptoms.
Bhargava didn't seem flustered when we talked about the caffeine content a few months ago, before the Attorney General acted. And tonight he still stands by his product, telling Nightline, the AG's inquiry regarding our products is routine, and we do not see any material issues.
Having one of those days? Tired, groggy.
For one thing, he says his somewhat corny commercials are not designed to appeal to kids. He says the company does not market to children, period.
Does the addictiveness of caffeine being sold to kids concern you? And as a dad, does it concern you?
Me personally, for my son, no. But there is a perception out there, and therefore what we do is do not market to kids.
How much caffeine is actually in a 5-hour energy shot? Bhargava says it's about what you'd find in a cup of premium coffee. His view, it's not enough to raise a fuss about.
It's overblown when it's in small quantities. It's correct when it's in large quantities. But, it's like this. Water is good, but if you have too much, you drown.
In general, Manoj is a guy who has taught himself not to get worried about too much, like frills. This billionaire's office is undecorated to the point of drab. Since hitting it big, he told us he has given away close to 90% of his money to charities in India, where he lived until he was 14, when his dad moved the family to the Detroit area. Good at math, he got into Princeton. Finding it pointless for him, he quit after a year.
You told your parents you were quitting Princeton.
Yeah, that didn't go over that well.
I bet not.
I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll tell Princeton that I'm taking a year's leave.
So they're still waiting for you to come back then?
I don't think anybody's holding their breath.
But for a guy who seems to take it easy, he's actually pretty competitive. His many imitators, who all seem to think it was about the bottle, these were all attempts to imitate him, have made almost no dent in his market share. He owns this market. What he doesn't own are fancy cars or houses.
Why don't you want stuff?
We were taught really to be practical.
When you were in India?
Yes.
Right now, that'll help, as what's in the bottle is a question getting the government's attention, even as it sells and sells and sells. I'm John Donvan for Nightline in Detroit.